Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker. She's the host of the program, and this is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate. It does it with Barb Schlinker, the owner, broker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Now, Barb, with higher rates and fewer buyers that can afford a home, I would think that there's quite a few home sellers who have homes that are not selling right now. What are some of the reasons they are not selling, and what can people do about it?
Well, Richard, it's a simple supply and demand equation. And also, affordability is a factor because when the rates more than doubled in 2022, and now they're holding pretty close to that number, they came down about a point from the initial surge and they've gone up to 8 last fall. Now, most of the spring they were at 7.5, and now it's down to 6.5. It's still an affordability problem for the buyers. They're still having to ask sometimes the sellers to pay their loan closing cost so that they could buy down their interest rate to make the payment more affordable. So pending sales right now are actually down by almost 10%, while the inventory is going up by over 30%. So why is that happening? Because buyers aren't consuming the available homes on the market because they can't afford them. And so the result is going to be, we're going to see probably a little bit of correction in prices, although the historic stats don't show that yet. What we're seeing is the pending sales are starting to slip. And that's kind of a leading indicator of what's going to happen in the future. And I think the sales are going to remain down really until we see the rates come down some more or the price is correct. We're seeing pretty much all over the Pikes Peak region that more than half of the home sellers are lowering their price. Why are they doing that? Because when they initially met with their agent and they priced their home, they look back on what has sold in the last few months, and I would say almost every seller I speak with wants the most money. I get that. But there's a way to get the most money. It's not necessarily by pricing it high. It actually works against you to price it high. And a lot of people don't understand. They'll say, well, why don't they just make an offer? Well, because they don't envision that you're going to negotiate with them because we just came off of a red hot market, so that they won't even go see it if it's not in their price range. It just won't make their radar. So as we see the home sellers looking back at homes just a few months ago that might be similar to their home, and they priced it that way, it's not working. Let me tell you a story. I've done this a couple of times where they'll say, hey, what do I do? It's not selling, it's not getting showings. I'm like, well, if you're not getting any showings, you need to make a 3 to 5% minimum correction. You can't do just 5,000. That doesn't cut it, right? You need to do at least 3 to 5% to get attention, especially if it's been sitting on the market kind of tired, nobody's really noticing it anymore. You get the most buyer activity within the first 10 to 30 days on the market. So once it goes beyond that, it kind of falls down, just like dropping down below on Craigslist or my email. So basically, there's been a massive collapse in buyer demand, even though the buyers would love to buy a house just because they can't afford it because the payments are too high. So if you do get lucky enough to get an offer, work with them. One of the things an old asset manager taught me about negotiating and working with buyers is, and an asset manager, just so you know, back during the meltdown, there were a whole bunch of foreclosed homes. And one of the contracts that I still have, and I've had the privilege of handling, is homes that were taken back by the VA in foreclosure. Now, as a veteran, it totally breaks my heart that any veteran has to lose a house. But sometimes it happens just because either they had issues in their life or they passed away, or I sometimes what happened, like during the boom of going all the way to the middle of 22, if they bought a home during that time between mid 2020 and 2022, they paid top dollar, and the prices aren't up there now. That's why everybody's property taxes are supposed to be 18 to 24 months behind the current market. So that's based on its value in June of 2022, which was right before the Fed took 6 months and more than doubled the interest rates. And that it basically created all kinds of demand destruction. It killed the real estate boom and the market values, and the prices overall peaked at that time. So if a veteran paid 100% financing on these homes, they're not worth that much now, unfortunately. And they don't have enough equity to be able to sell it and not have to bring money to the table. So it saddens me that some veterans are having to lose a home if they have to move really soon, or they choose not to rent it and they just let it go. But what these people do, these asset managers, they manage hundreds of properties for one seller. One of them is the Secretary of Veterans Affairs. The other one would be like Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, HUD. All those people, all those organizations have asset managers, and they are selling homes all the time. They know exactly how to sell homes. That's why every foreclosed home sells. And one of the things that an asset manager said to me, which I thought was really cute, she goes, "Don't let the buyer get away." So we were kind of negotiating and they weren't sure. And we went back to, we went back to the buyer and we made it happen. So I think that's the world right now. Yes, you might be expecting to get a price of similar sales that happened a few months ago, but it's just not working. So if you do catch a buyer, like catching a worm, work with them and try to make it happen for them if that is your only choice. If you have multiple offers, well, that's wonderful. You have multiple offers and you have a lot of choices. But really, to get multiple offers, all of the stars have to align perfectly. You have to be priced right. Your home has to be prepared for market, and it has to be promoted right in order to be in that situation. So one of the things that we're finding right now, if more than half the home sellers are lowering their price, is whatever they're doing is not working. And the biggest mistake you can do is price it too high and very slowly walk the price down. That is the way you net the least amount of money. That's not the way to do it. And I've seen, with homes not selling, a lot of people ask me to come fix their problems. Like, okay, my house is not selling. They might decide not to work with that agent anymore. Then they have me come over. It could be one of three things. It could be marketing, it could be pricing, or it could be both. And I've seen marketing problems where the photos were just awful. I've seen pricing problems where they're priced really high and slowly walk the price down, and yet didn't do anything about it during the course of that home sitting on the market getting stale, or they have both of those problems. So we're going to talk about what you can do about it here in the next little section. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty and the host of this show, Your Real Estate Voice. And we're talking about the reasons why a house is not selling. And when we come back, we're going to talk about some things that you can do to get it to sell. And if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call at 719-301-3900. We have over 27,000, almost 28,000 buyers in waiting just on our little website. Plus, we have almost 70 high net worth cash buyers that might make a really good offer on your home, and we can get this done right away. Typically, I can find 700 buyers that are a high match for your home, and I will bring them to you when we meet. So call us at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
Barb, we're discussing the why a house may not be selling. We know that rising interest rates mean fewer buyers can afford the higher payments, but what are some of the other reasons why a house may not be selling right now?
Well, you have to constantly look at the competition and constantly look at what is selling. And that's part of what we do in our business, because I don't think, I would say overall, home sellers are paying attention because they're thinking, I'm going to put the house on the market and it's definitely going to sell. And if it doesn't, they're kind of shocked. But what we're seeing as far as the pending sales, they're 10% down as compared to a year ago, and we have 31% more available homes. So you know what's going to happen. That's a leading indicator. It means the prices are going to come down. Mortgage applications have dropped. And there are a lot of people that have some good equity, but as you have to deal with the market that you're in right now. So if you're in a market that is slightly declining, and that's really what I'm feeling right now, even though the numbers may not completely shake that out, some of them are indicating the prices are declining. Yet, if you look at Pikes Peak numbers, it says, oh, the average price went up. And I'm like, I don't know. More than half the sellers are lowering their price. So I don't know where you're getting that average number from, or even if it means anything. But at the end of the day, if more than half the sellers are lowering their price, most logical agents are going to tell them to price it according to similar sales. I recently had one where we priced exactly to similar sales. We had a light turnout initially. We had just a few showings. The seller said, hey, what do? I want to get it sold. I said, if you're not getting showings, you're off by 3 to 5%. And we made that change immediately. And immediately we got multiple offers. It sold for the new full asking price or very close to it. And the weirdest thing is the appraiser came back and said it was worth the original price where we were priced at. But we couldn't get a buyer to raise their hand before that with all the marketing that we do. So that tells me the market's going to be moving just a bit. And what else I think you can do is just make sure that your home is properly presented to the market and properly priced. Don't wait to change your price. The market's going to tell you immediately if you missed it. A lot of people will look at their assessed value, what the tax man is basing their home values, and that is not reality. They don't come look at the house. They don't know its condition. Even if it's in good condition, it's what the buyers are willing to pay is what its current market value is now. So if you're not getting showings, then you're not priced right. It's just that simple. Or you have a marketing problem. And you can tell that by just have somebody close in your family or friend look at your pictures and go, what do you think? Would you be motivated to come look at my house? Be honest. And they will, most of the time, friends and family are going to tell you, they'll be brutally honest about what they're seeing or what they're not seeing. The whole idea behind marketing is just to get them there, and then the house has to make the impression at that point. So if it's not a marketing problem, it's got to be price. And buyers right now are looking for the best deal. So it's all about price, and it's all about being the best home in your $50,000 increment in that area. And there's a way to tell. Recently, I met with a seller and somebody else had told them, oh, there's not much inventory in this price range, and oh, your home is worth all this money. So I just pulled out the MLS and said, look at this. There were dozens and dozens of available homes, very similar size within 2 miles of this home. And some were bigger and some were smaller, but at the end of the day, there was a lot of available homes to choose from. So that was just not true. And I think that there are some agents that don't pay attention to what's going on in the market. Things could change fairly quickly, especially things like inventory and what's selling and what's not. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call at 719-301-3900. We are home value experts. We do this at least 5 to 10 times for home sellers every single week. And we're looking hard at what the home is worth and what the seller can get. And we're fairly accurate. We have a really good track record. So give us a chance at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
Barb, we're talking about houses not selling. So, what are some other things that a seller can do to get their home sold?
Well, just real quickly, take a critical look at pictures, take a look at the competition, take a look at the condition. No, they're not going to accept a carpet allowance. You have to make the carpet look good. Look at the feedback. The feedback's going to tell you what the consumers thought, and look at pricing. Those are the biggest things. And don't be afraid to get a second opinion. And you can do that by calling us at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, host of the program and the proprietor, owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. If you're thinking of making a move, call Barb at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. A short break. When we come back, we'll be talking about what are the pros and cons of a cash offer on a house. You don't want to miss that.